Well, my name is Elwoode Mantey. I'm the programs manager of Happy 98.9 FM. 16 years ago, since I started, the way I started and the people I learned from and how the media space was, I can see some form of change. Back then, people were more careful as to what they say on radio and even on television. So these days, you could see that some of our media personalities are not following the rules and regulations governing press freedom. I mean, you have the right to talk. However, you should measure the way you talk. And when you look at it, you can see it has changed to a large extent over the 16 years I've been in this media space. As a programs manager, Happy FM, so I make sure that programs, particularly political programs, and the content we place on all political programs are factual. The producers have the facts, and even the people resource person to speak to issues are people who are very credible and can explain things and answer questions effectively. And these things are checked before we even put things on air or content on radio. For some of our shows like HMS, our morning show, the producers are tasked to make sure that the content that they are putting on air are factual. They are not sensational. And these are the things I look out for, and making sure that the resource persons that we put on air are very credible, people who can explain things, people who can answer to questions that we give them, so that we can help the audience. Remember, if you misinform them, the actions they will take would affect the whole nation and the society. So we make sure that whatever we put on air are factual, are not sensational, and are things that will help our audience. Almost all my shows are being run on radio and online. We stream all our content on Facebook, on Instagram, on TuneIn, and other online platforms. And the reason is the way things have changed, the global approach to consuming content or information. And it has become an online business, an online affair, where most of the people are spending their time online. So you have to find ways and means to reach them online. It's easy for them to consume information. They might not have the time to listen to your terrestrial radio. However, they may come back later and watch your content. And this is the reason why we put all our content on social media, because we know that we get people who will get our content on demand when they need to listen or watch them. Content on social media and online particularly. Sometimes you do find that your content is blocked by the administrators or the owners of the social media platform, based on their standards or their understanding of certain things you say, which might not necessarily be wrong in your own enclave or your country. But because it's global now, they have the right to block it to an extent. Now, the question comes, to what extent do you allow me to put my content there and say what I believe can affect the people who listen to me positively? As to whether we are free online to say all we have to say, to a large extent, I would say, well, there's some form of cap in there. In the sense that not everything you put online goes free. Sometimes you are being blocked. An example is music. Sometimes you place music online and then you have it blocked because it's part of it's embedded in your programming. And the reason is most of the musicians have sent messages or mails to Facebook that these songs have been copyrighted, and so they block them. So what we do is that if we have any content, we issue disclaimers to make sure that this is not our words. This content have been taken from this source, and so we are putting it out there to make sure that our listeners or our viewers on social media follow through from where we got the content and the source of that content from. So we do put those things in there to make sure that we have the standard. So I would advise that they should contextualize the content from where it is coming from, so that it doesn't look like the content we've placed there is taken out of context, and that is why it has been blocked. My message to my colleagues, those in position of making decisions in radio stations or media space, presenters on air, in as much as we have the freedom to talk, we should make sure that, one, it is something that helps the people who listen to us. It's something that develops the nation. And when you look at our space at Happy FM, we do have content that does so, and we do it very well and professionally. We do have a Pahwada Bang, a content that dealt with the Cocoa series, highlighting challenges that people in that sector were facing. It was fruitful, it was very great. We had a lot of responses. And these are some of the ways we are helping develop the nation. And also a show like Insempi, a social religious show, which embarks on a lot of charity projects. We also do bring counselors on the show to help in developing the mental health of our listeners. And also shows like Happy Sports and Wamputu Sports. You know, Happy FM has led the sports scene for a number of years, almost 20 years now, and we're still the leaders when it comes to sports. And the reason is we think ahead. We have the forethought of putting things together, content that would help build a sports fraternity. We have been doing things like the GFA presidential debate, GOC dialogues, and many other activities or activations that we do to help build the sports fraternity. All right, so these are some of the things we do as Happy FM to build the nation, to make sure that our listeners are also enjoying great content on our network. So I say equal to all of us, and let's keep up the good work, and let's try as much as possible to be professional in our delivery, both on air and off air. And remember, with freedom comes responsibility. A great one.